This is the first video in our old subscription boxes playlist. I'll link that up in the corner if you want to know what that's about. Stay tuned, we're going to have a blast. You can see there's a lot of items in this box. They are individually $52.32, and I'll add those links down in the description box below. I paid $32.50 for this box because I paid for a year subscription at a time. And even so, even if you're paying the full month-to-month price, Paletteful packs are always an excellent value for your money. I have never, ever been disappointed by their boxes. So here is what we have. Lots of stuff, lots of value. So with Poscas, you just open them by twisting them, and that takes the plastic and rips it right in the right place. And you can see I could just slip it off. So just do that with the rest. And then you'll want to shake these really well before using them. They have paint in them that will get really thin and runny. So if you're using your Posca and it gets thin and runny, then you really need to spend some time shaking it. So you can see I'm just kind of testing the colors, see what I have to work with when I do my final project there. And that's opening the wood. I'm going to put a little sample of the Posca on the back to see if I might need to gesso this wood panel. First, I wanted to see how much they soaked in, and they seemed really good on this test, but you'll see later I had some problems with the white. To get my sketch started, I just laid the piece of wood over the top of my sketchbook and traced around it so I knew what space I was working with, and gives me a nice idea of what my borders are going to be. So I decided to use that Candy Crush inspired picture that I've linked in the description below. I've always been super inspired by the Candy Crush artwork, and I haven't played the game actually in years, but I used to play it quite regularly, and I just wanted to pause every time you switch a level and you get to see a glimpse of their artwork. Was just really pleasurable to look at. And so I found some pictures on Google of some Candy Crush scenery and found one I liked and just kind of based my sketch off of that. And here I'm setting my board behind carbon paper on top. And since the Poscas will cover this waxy carbon just fine, I felt comfortable using it again. You've seen it in a few of my other videos. So just lining it up straight. And the cool thing about tracing it over like this is it makes the sketch really dark in your sketchbook at the end, so you'll end up with this really nice dark sketch. And so it's fun to have that basically finished looking sketch at the end too, so definitely recommend. Here you can see that it transferred over really nicely, so it's going to be really easy to do the rest of the work on this. And now it's time to get into it. This is the fun part. So I decided to start with the darker blue and the lighter blue together. I did my sky in the lighter blue. I didn't have that dark brown color in a Posca that you'll see in the reference photo, so I used my darkest blue, and it turned out really cute actually, and I like it because the blue is a wintry color and it just goes with this cute little winter scene. I wonder, what do the people that live here, what do they like? What do they do? How do they get to these homes? I just very curious about that story. So you can see here with the white, I am having a little bit of issue with it covering. And I made sure I shook it really hard. I kept shaking it after I would do a section just to make sure it was fully mixed up, and it just kind of soaked into the wood is what it seemed like. So maybe I should have gessoed the board after all, but I just ended up going over the white right here. You can see with a second layer, and it looked pretty good at the end. I was pretty happy with the way it covered after those two layers. It just, took more time, but that's all right. This was a really fun project. Working with a marker that covers like this, like with this paint, it's just really enjoyable. So if you haven't tried the Posca, however you say it, markers, then I highly recommend that you try them. So you can see I did the green, and if you look at the reference photo, mine is different than the sketch. Obviously there were elements in that photo that I didn't want to include in mine, so I had to make some things up, which is right? My artistic license. You can see there I tried the white on the trees, didn't like it, so I covered it back up with the green, and it's okay that I didn't cover quite fully because I'm going to go back and change that later. So yeah, just add in some shadows with that light blue, kind of bringing it into the rest of the painting. And I guess we can call it a painting, right? It's painting with Posca markers. It's acrylic paint, I believe. So yeah, just they have candy for treats. What do these people do? I'm so curious. Like, I need to make up my own story about them, right? Because the candy's decoration everywhere, and it's just fun and interesting, and having the red stripes in the candy just makes it look, I don't know. I know I've used the word fun a lot, but it's fun, darn it. So I just think like everyone in this world must just be like happy, and even though they have to live in the winter up here, they're just happy. So I really like that. I like the whole concept of it, and I really like the way this piece turned out, and working with Poscas was really rewarding. The way they cover, the way you're forced to do your art in block sections. You know, you can blend, of course, taking your Posca markers and putting them off a little bit on plastic and using a brush. You can blend them that way, but I really like to try and use them without blending, and so it's fun to challenge your art style this way. So have you guys used Posca markers? Let me know in the comments below. Did you love them like I did? I just can't wait to use them. I found even more in some other old subscription boxes that I'll be getting through, so stay tuned for those. And we are going to have way more fun with these at some point in the future. I have a lot of other projects lined up until then, but that's okay. So yeah, just decided to do the light blue on the trees this time instead of the white, and I really like the way that turned out. I just love it, actually. And then one thing not shown here at the end is that I did put red around the border, that thick edge of the wood there at the end, and that really finished it off. And I will spray it with acrylic spray so that I can clean it easily and wipe it off, hang it on the wall, so wipe dust off and so on. And it'll be nice and finished up. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Subscribe if you haven't. Appreciate your time today.